All right, everyone, we are live with Stream of Consciousness with Dan. And today I'm sitting down with someone who brings a kind of clarity and honesty that leaders don't get nearly enough of. Kurt Busch is a trauma-informed coach, an internal family systems practitioner, and co-founder of Brimstone Coaching Group. But what matters most is the way he helps people move from performing to actually being whole. He's worked in corporate leadership, he's worked as a local church pastor, and he's lived the pressure, the doubt, the expectations, and all the stuff most leaders carry quietly. And now he's doing the work of helping people break out of that survival mode and step into something real. So if you're a leader, an entrepreneur, or just someone carrying more than you can admit out loud, this conversation is going to get home. Kurt, man, I'm so glad you're here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, super excited to hear all about your coaching and just kind of your life story as well. Um, so yeah, before we get into the work you're doing now, I just wanted to kind of start with not the coach, not the practitioner, just you as a kid. Where'd you grow up? What did it look like? What were you into? Were you the sports kid, the music kid, the theater kid? Or the just the quiet kid. So yeah, just what did you look like growing up?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Dan. I always I'm a question asker, so I always want to turn it around and say, "What do you think I was, Dan?" But we just met each other, so that would be an unfair question.
I
Uh,
feel like you're a sports guy.
oh, okay. Is it the baseball in the background, maybe?
Oh, it might be.
Well, I would say you're probably wrong.
Oh
Good,
man.
great guess though, Dan. Yeah, so I grew up in a little Dutch town on the Mississippi River in Northwest Illinois. I like to tell people it's like a sleepy blue collar kind of Dutch settlement. It was a logging town way back in the day on the Mississippi. Um, I didn't know this then. I know it now when I go back and visit my family of origin. I know how beautiful the area around the Mississippi River is, but I
Mhm.
didn't know it. I didn't know it then. It was beautiful. Yeah, I was really into cars. I was really
Ooh.
into kind of tinkering on cars. I was the stereotypical like had a paper route as a kid. I had a lawn mowing gig and bought my first car at 16 and kind of tinkered on it. And that was kind of my hobby. I worked a lot as a high school kid, mostly to support my bad financial habit of pouring money into my first car.
Oh, that's really cool. So I'm a car guy, but not in like the tinkering way. I would, as a kid, I remember I had this carpet with like a racetrack on it,
Yeah, yeah.
and I would literally sit there for hours with my little Hot Wheels NASCAR cars and just
Uh-huh.
do pretend races over and over and over again. So that's really neat to hear. So what car was it?
Oh man, it was a 1993 Ford Ranger, Dan, and it was kind of my baby for a long time. I miss it to this day. I wish I'd held on to it, but it was nothing special. It was what a high schooler could afford, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, my first car was a 94 Honda Accord.
Oh, it's probably still running today.
I think my dad sold it for like $2 or something. I don't know what, but
Can I
oh,
ask, Dan, the carpet on the floor, was that Lightning McQueen influenced? Were you a Lightning McQueen
wait,
kid?
I don't think so. I don't. I don't remember. I mean, I can picture it in my head, but I don't think it was Lightning McQueen. No,
Okay.
but yeah, it was just this track, and it was my track.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool.
uh, so I want to talk a little bit about leadership in your younger years. Um, was there an influence in your life where you were kind of inspired to be a leader or learned about leadership, or did that come about later in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I honestly don't even know how to answer it. I've been thinking about this lately. I mean, I think into my 20s, I probably looked at leadership as this sort of stereotypical mental model that's like leaders have power and control. Leaders know, everything about something. Leaders are the subject matter experts. Leaders have all the answers. Leaders are decisive. Um, I don't think that's uncommon, especially, as you know, especially in the Midwest. I think that that's a pretty common thing. I don't know that I can point to where I learned that. I mean, we'll probably get to this. I wouldn't say I hold that today, but I think
Mhm.
growing up and into my first kind of like adult gigs, that's how I thought leaders led.
Gotcha. No, that makes complete sense. So I want to fast forward just a little bit. So, after high school, what what were your goals? Where did you go to college? What did you study? And just kind of where did you think you were going with your life?
Oh, Dan, the hard hitting questions here. You didn't know it's hard hitting, but it's hard hitting. So in high school, in my high school, in my senior year, the school I was part of did a thing where students could go spend like half a day learning a trade,
Mhm.
like work at a local trade shop or whatever. And I did that. My family. I come from a blue collar family, not an academic family at all. I went and worked at an auto body shop my senior year of high school, and I fell in love with it. I loved the work. Um, I loved the place. So after high school, I actually went to a community college to learn how to do auto body work. I dropped out when I was 19 because I didn't need it. I had a job. Well, I thought I didn't need it. I should have finished. There's value in finishing anything. So I dropped out of community college. I worked full time at this auto body shop that I worked for in high school. I worked there for about 2 years, and Dan, I wasn't good. I was not good. I
Well, you're
loved it.
talking to someone that can barely put windshield wiper fluid in their car, so
We're kindred spirits. So I got fired. I got fired from the job that I thought was my future. I wanted nothing more than to work on cars. I still to this day I really love kind of tinkering on my own cars. Um, and it didn't work out. It was kind of world shattering. I was 21. I was engaged. I had no college background to fall back on. Yeah, it was life altering in that moment that led to other steps that I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, that was my kind of post high school. Kind of fell into a job after that, and the rest, as they say, is history.
well, before we get into your next chapter, I do really want to talk about just kind of being from the Midwest, because that's kind of what inspired my podcast in the first place. I mean, you always hear the term Midwest nice, but like it really is true. Everyone is so nice here. We're hardworking, we're proud, but not arrogant. So I'm just curious what being from the Midwest means to you.
Yeah, I love the Midwest, Dan. I mean, do I think the Midwest is perfect? No. But all those things you said, like I remember those things being ingrained in me. I'm grateful to come from a blue collar Midwest family that like taught me work ethic. Um, like that's real. Like that hangs on. I'm 42, right? That hangs on even today. Um, I think one of the things I love most about the Midwest is people's willingness to like jump in and help when things are tough. Um, Again, I'm not from the area I'm living in right now, but I've seen in the last 2 years, uh, yeah, I guess it'd be 2 years now. 2024, there were historic floods in this area. Like half of towns just wiped out.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was working at actually the United Way of the Midlands, and yeah, we did a ton of work with that flooding.
yeah, yeah, Rock Valley area. I mean, there's a lot of that happened really quickly, and I got to see communities rally around one another in ways that I don't know it happens outside of the Midwest. I'm sure it happens. I'm not sure it happens to the scale that I saw. Like I was surprised. We've had floods, we've had derechos and tornadoes. I mean, I am proud to be a Midwesterner when I see people like step up and actually give back to neighbors when they need it. It's actually really beautiful.
No, I couldn't agree more. So, so yeah, so you're fired from the auto body shop. You
Yeah.
suck at being a mechanic,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yep.
So yeah, so you said you kind of fell into a job. Could you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, 100%. So, no plan B. I had no plan B. So I'm trying to figure out what again, I'm engaged, gonna get married in 2 months. I have no idea how I'm gonna pay for my life. A family friend or friend of a family worked at a factory about 20 minutes away from where we lived that made glass, like architectural glass.
Hmm.
And I remember him saying to, somebody in my family, like, "Hey, we're hiring out there. It's a good job." And I remember thinking, I'm never gonna work at that place. I'm never like it's glass. I'm gonna die. Uh, and I just remember it like I'm never gonna work there. So I did. I did, and I was 21. I was sheltered kid, like quiet, sheltered kid thrust into a rotating shift factory for the first time in my life. Is this eye-opening experience? But honestly, like I jumped in immediately. I got some opportunities early on in the production process where I got some leadership roles in the production world. And then about 3 years in, I got invited into HR to do recruiting,
Okay.
to do all the labor recruiting for the entire plant. And it was awesome. I loved the plant that I worked in. I loved the company. I loved the people. I resisted it really hard for a while, and then I just loved it. And I was there for about a decade. I had the opportunity to be a production supervisor as well. I supervised a team of about 12 people, and then spent more time in HR doing recruiting and benefits administration and employee discipline and that kind of stuff. And um, I just loved it. I absolutely loved that chapter of my life.
That's so neat. It's so neat. And do you think that really sparked the leadership that you're kind of building right now and what you're doing? I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to ask, but so if that moment in your life really shaped you very, very powerfully.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know that I ever knew what I was doing. I mean, I think I was probably the experiment or the case for like underqualified people in roles they don't belong in.
Yeah.
But I tried to be a sponge. I tried to learn everything I could from everybody I could. I had a chance to work with a guy. He's an engineer, was an engineer. He did process improvement. So he taught how to look at a manufacturing process and enact change and make it more efficient. And really, like, he taught me how to think about humans and systems. Like it's about
Hmm.
more than just manufacturing processes.
Oh,
um
absolutely.
so I don't look back. I mean, there's things in that season I regret. There are things I didn't know that I wish I knew. But yeah, I think I'm really grateful for that season. I mean, that experience, not only did I enjoy it, but it shapes how I should, when I coach people now, like that's experience that goes into every coaching conversation I have with people.
So cool. So what kind of inspired you to move to your next chapter as a local pastor? Because that's a little bit of a change from, HR to being a pastor, and faith is very important to me. So I'd just love to hear about that because I think that's really cool and kind of unique.
Yeah, yeah. Dan, you should know I don't stay still very long. I like variety. I like changes. I like new things and exciting things. Yeah, about 7 or 8 years into working in HR, I began to like wonder if there was something else for me. My wife and I were part of a church plant. We were heavily invested as volunteers in a church plant, which is a huge time commitment, a huge energy investment. And yeah, I mean, I had some good mentors in the church that helped me grow myself and grow my leadership, grow my faith. And one of them one day said, "Hey, you ever think about going to seminary?" I was like, "No, get out of here. Are you kidding me? I'm like 35." You know? So yeah, I brush it off because like, why would I go? I've never went to college. Why am I going to go to seminary now? Uh, so I brush it off, and there was just a number of those conversations that happened with some other people that I just couldn't ignore. I mean, I think I kind of knew seminary was coming. I think I was enjoying the leadership, the volunteer leadership I was getting to do in this church plant. I was really feeling energy around it, feeling like I was good at it. And yeah, I mean, some things fell right that I could get into seminary as a second career person without an undergrad degree. And the doors kind of opened up, as they say. And yeah, as a second career, decided I'm going to go to seminary. Uh, yeah, pretty wild. I mean, it was like 2 years worth of discerning and trying to understand what was the
Mhm.
right move. But yeah, there were just too many of those instances where I just really felt like this is where I need to be headed and leaning.
Oh, that's a beautiful story, and I'm actually going to go off script. So I've interviewed one pastor before, and he kind of talked about his seminary experience. And just as a Catholic myself, I I don't know what seminary looks like. So could you just kind of share what actual, how that, the study plan, just kind of the path, how all that all goes?
Yep, yep. And every seminary is different. So I'll share mine, which I'm obviously biased and partial to. Yeah, I went to it's called Western Theological Seminary in Holland, Michigan. Um, and their philosophy, it's a 5-year program actually, and they have one main philosophy that seminary is about forming pastors, like forming a whole human, not simply just gaining a bunch of knowledge. And I did experience that. Like I experienced a formation that was beyond just an understanding of any sort of text or any sort of like language. I mean, I had to learn languages. I had to learn Greek and Hebrew, which I don't know that I could translate them today, if I'm honest, but I did have to learn them and translate them. Uh, but again, like they focused on self-awareness and emotional health. They focused on, how do we as future pastors begin to like be aware of ourselves so that we can serve others well. Their philosophy is um, that if a pastor's unaware of themselves or what they need or what they're carrying in to a local church, that they will harm a local church. So it really for them, for Western Theological Seminary, it really was about a full formation that happened to include some academics, but really like forming a whole human, not just forming a brain.
Yeah, that's just so cool to hear because I don't think people realize how much time and effort goes into being, uh, you know, a, a pastor, regardless of the denomination. So I love that we got to share that. And my
Yeah, thanks for
computer's
asking.
being weird. Why is my computer being weird? Give me a second. I apologize. Okay, so now you're a pastor. You're
Yep.
enjoying it, I'm assuming, and now you're a co-founder of Brimstone Coaching Group. So I know you said you can't sit still and stay somewhere for once, but was there like a sense of, I don't know, like what was the drive to start that?
Yeah, yep. So yeah, a couple things are true. I served in my first pastoral role from 2017 to 2019, and it was very hard. Um, not a great fit. Like it was maybe the toughest 2 years of my working life, even back into high school. From there, we ended up here in Northwest Iowa, where we are now. And I served as a second campus pastor of a church. So a well-established church was launching a second campus that was actually going to be in the building of another church that had just closed. So church closes, we come in and start a second campus
Gotcha.
in this old building
Hmm.
with some of the people too. We launched that campus in on January 1st of 2020. And I don't know if you remember 2020. There was a lot of stuff going on in 2020.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy year.
Yes, yes. It was maybe the worst time that I can think of to launch a second campus of a church was January 1, 2020. Um, so we were already doing this hard thing where one church had closed and we are trying to kind of build a new culture and a new church in its place. Um, that's hard, right? Culture building is hard. Now there's a pandemic. There was also some sort of denominational strife going on at the same time. And what I learned like it was very hard. Again, like some of the hardest working years of my life. Um, there was a moment where I realized what I loved about that as hard as it was, what I loved was helping my volunteer leaders manage their own anxiety, helping them navigate the emotions of doing the hard and not knowing, what's coming up next and realizing like we're in this unprecedented time of a pandemic. Like I loved coaching those leaders. Um, and building culture. I love the culture building work that I got to do. What happened is then 2022, 2023 came and the culture that we were trying to build was taking place. It was taking hold. And I wasn't getting to coach these leaders as much because they were kind of living into the culture that we built. Um, and what I realized was the church needed an organizational leader more so than a culture builder and a coach. Um, and frankly, I'm not an organizational leader today. I could probably learn it. I could probably get there. I don't want to.
Right.
Um, that's not that like I'm not a, cast a vision, run out front kind of leader. Like I know my skill set and that's not it, and it doesn't bring me life. So I saw my coaching opportunities in the church I was leading. I saw them dwindle. I saw them get fewer and far between. My friend and I kind of started dabbling in coaching and seeing if we could make a go at it. And it came a point when it was really clear that I needed a change so that I could flex some of the more coaching muscles I had. But the church also needed, the church needed someone that could lead a whole organization.
Right.
The time was right for both me and for the church. And in 2024, I stepped away and said, "Here we go. We're going to dive into this new venture together."
That's that's incredible. Yeah. That's just life though. When you said like you started it January 1, 2020, like I don't think you could pick a worse date if you could try.
No, no, nope, nope.
Uh,
My family and I we moved into a new community like December 7th of 2019. So yeah, just a perfect storm of all the things.
oh, but it all worked out. So I really want to talk about, I saw on your profile the E plus R equals T, which is encounter plus reflection equals transformation. So, for people hearing that for the first time, what does that mean in practice?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So all of our work is centered around the idea that transformation is possible, and transformation takes a long time. Um, I wish it was overnight for me. It hasn't ever been, and I don't think it is for anybody. But uh, man, if it was, it'd be great. We think the road to transformation is reflecting on these encounters, as you said. And when we say encounters, we mean that an encounter is anything that happens in our day that causes us to react in ways that surprise us or cause us to lash out or maybe like withdraw in or respond in a way that isn't the way we prefer. We think those are encounters, and we think we have dozens of those a day, whether
Mhm.
we're aware of it or not. We think we have dozens of them a day. The beauty then is if we can pause and reflect on those encounters. Now, as adults, we can see it. We can see the ways that we responded. We can see the ways we showed up. And once we see it, now we have a choice. We have a choice to either ignore it, or we have a choice to do the work to step in to actually make it different the next time we have that encounter.
Gotcha. Well, I just thought that's really cool because I'm a very nerdy math person, so like seeing like an equation like that, but also how it can kind of help me. I just thought it was really neat. And uh do you think your time as a pastor kind of helped you coach in a way? Like I think transformation is a very it's kind of a faithful religious word in my opinion. So do you think that kind of had an effect on the work you're doing today?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm glad you asked it. I mean, I think, our coaching practice is not explicitly Christian.
Hmm.
I'm still an ordained minister. My business partner is also an ordained minister serving in a local church even still. Um, I think what I would tell you is that the basis of the work is that we believe that God desires shalom in the world, that
Hmm.
shalom is that all things have right relationships with each other. And that's me to you, me to myself, me to creation, and me to God, right? That idea that that is God's purpose for the world really is sort of the driver for the work that we do. And again, we don't couch that explicitly in a Christian coaching mindset, but
Hmm.
I think even though that's where our work comes from, I think that's helpful for the world, even without the explicitly religious undertone, if you will.
I love that. That's cool. So because it keeps it for people who maybe, aren't religious, they can still, use your services and things like that, but you can still kind of base it off of that. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so before we move into the I do want to talk about your book and your podcast as well, but before that, I really wanted to zoom out for a second. So we've been talking about, leadership and adults, but I'm curious about how kids can be leaders as well. Obviously, not in the corporate sense, but the way they show up in the classroom, the way they handle responsibility, and just for all the parents listening, how do we help our kids to, be leaders, whether it's in the classroom, on the basketball court, in the band room, etc. Do you have any advice or
I,
things
I
like that?
love I love that question, Dan. You're pretty good as a professional question asker. You're a good question asker, Dan. Uh, yeah. So I have two teenagers. So we're in this right now. I would define a leader as anyone who has someone following them, right? I think there is a potential that, people can have this myth of like a leader is a given employment title. I think anybody that has someone that looks at them or follows them is a leader, whether they choose to or not. And so I think 100% kids fall into this category of like some of these kids are leaders, whether they know it or not. Um, yeah. So here's how I frame this with my kids. Um, and it's the same as adults. When we talk to adults, we think about like authentic leadership, not authenticity in a sense of like, you know what, I got a short temper, take me or leave me. Like that's not how we think about authenticity. We think about authenticity as aligning our leadership and our lives with who and how we want to be, and who and how we're created to be. So I think the same is true for my kids, right? Or for anybody's kids. A conversation we have in our house a lot is like, at school when somebody's engaging in something you don't want to be a part of, like who and how do you want to be, or when you see somebody getting bullied, who and how do you want to be? Or when they're, I mean, I don't know, this kind of Gen Z like super cynicism all the time that my teenagers have, like who and how do you want to be, so I think that question, I think that transfers down to kids. I mean, certainly the ability to answer that is different, right? My 13-year-old can't answer that question the same way that I can or you can.
Hmm.
But I think on some level, they can still answer the question in these situations at school, who and how do I want to be? And align that with what the reality is, what the real lived experience is, more and more every day. Now, I think we get it wrong. Like I get it wrong, you know. Um, we miss it or we mess it up or we drop the ball, if you want to use a metaphor. Uh, I think it's okay. Leaders do that, but then we get to try again tomorrow, right?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I just thought that was an important question because uh, I'm not a parent myself, but I just remember in high school, like, seeing the kid who was bullied, like you said, or the someone who was a different ethnicity that people were afraid of because they dressed differently or talked
Mm,
differently. And that just was never important to me because I just wanted to make them feel just a part of, like, you're a human being. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It was just an important question I thought I would ask. So I'm going to give you the floor to talk about your book.
Okay.
It's co-authored. It's called Live Fully, Lead Authentically. So yeah, so how did that book come about? And for people who haven't read it, what's kind of the heart of the book?
Yep. So yeah, thanks for asking. Dan, I feel like I need to start asking you some questions, by the way. Like
You
I feel like I want to
you
start
can
asking Dan some questions.
you
Uh,
can ask me whatever you want. I'm an open book.
okay. Oh, I see what you did there in the book conversation. Yeah,
I didn't
so
even
so
know
this
I didn't even know I did that.
man, you're expert level host here. Uh, yeah, so it's co-authored with my business partner. Chris Godfredson is my coaching business partner. He's also one of my best friends. Um, he and I wrote this book. Boy, I guess it's been almost 2 years since we started writing it now. I had stepped away from pastoring. And if I'm most honest with you, Dan, like there was a part of me, like I didn't get to write as much as I was getting to. I like to write.
Mhm.
And, writing a sermon every week kind of scratches that itch.
Yeah.
But then stepping away, I realized like, man, I'm not writing anymore. So part of the motivation was like, I just want to write something and I want to write it with my friend. Like that really
Mhm.
was as simple. Like that's how the conversation started. Like maybe we should write something together. Uh, what do we want to write? Like that conversation happened, but really what we wanted to capture in the book is our coaching philosophy and the why and the how we do what we do. Um, there's so many resources, Dan, on how to do the tactical, practical things of leadership. Like the 21 laws or whatever. I mean, I don't want to throw any shade at them, but there's a lot of those like do these things as a leader.
Mhm.
We just our philosophy is based on how do you be as a leader? Like we didn't want to we don't want to be another voice that's telling leaders what to do. There's enough of those and really good ones. And we wanted our book to really capture what does it mean to think about being a leader, and then how do we help people get there? It really is like like here's an entry into Brimstone Coaching Group, and here's an entry into the most transparent look at who we are and why and how we do what we do.
Well, I can't wait to purchase a copy and read it, and we'll get to how everyone can access that book here in a little bit, but it's just funny because in my spare time, I've actually written two novellas.
Okay. Tell me. Okay, you got
Um,
to say more about that.
well, so they're kind of for like the middle school level, maybe like 12 to 4, like maybe even 10 to 14, nothing too crazy. One's about a kid who goes to a school for misfit magician or not magicians, misfit musicians. And it's just, I don't know, it's just fun and playful. And then the other one is about a kid named Ronald McDonald, and I'm not making that up. And he actually works in McDonald's, and the school starts a class that's it kind of like a cooking competition, and they're kind of just like coming of age and just happy, upbeat, light things. It's just fun to write. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's just really neat. So I'm really excited to get those edited and hopefully published somewhere. So yeah, I love reading as well. That's why I love interviewing people who have written books because I love, buying their books and reading them. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks for
if you
saying
want to
that.
ask me any questions, you go ahead. Like I said, you can do whatever you want.
Were you the music kid, Dan?
I was both sports and music. I was definitely better at music, but I liked sports more originally growing up, but I wasn't very good at them. But
What do you play?
uh I play the piano, the clarinet, the ukulele, the guitar, the banjo, the mandolin, the trumpet, and the Native American flute.
Love that. You still get to play. Like, are you play? You're a musician today, right?
I mean, I just do it for fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I just love it. Yeah,
Love
it's
that.
just it's a great coping mechanism for, if you're having a crappy day and just sitting down and just shredding Green Day. I don't know if I'm a Green Day fan at all, but
Of
uh
course, I'm a '90s kid.
but so yeah, so I do want to talk about your podcast though, because uh is it do you have guests on, or is it just kind of you two riffing, or just kind of how does it work?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we've tried so many things, Dan. I think I think what's true is that we are both of the age where we are young enough that we know how to make a podcast and know what what that looks like. But we're just old enough where we like don't have any idea why or what we're supposed to be doing with it. So it has gone through some iterations where, I think initially we thought, hey, our podcast is like the entryway to get a million coaching clients. Right. I mean,
Hmm.
I think if I'm being honest with you, that was kind of the initial, like, we're going to launch this podcast and a million people are going to listen to this thing. No, a million people did not listen to this thing. As you know, that's hard.
It is. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah, it's very hard. So we started by doing the whole guest thing. We because of the circles that we swim in with our churches and with our seminary. I mean, we have some guests that we were like confident, like we're gonna host these guests and they're gonna like bring again a million people. They did not.
Nope.
I actually think people listened to those episodes less. So then I think the shift we made was to what it is now to be able to say like this again. Chris and I are really good friends, and we coach each other. Right, Chris is my coach. I'm Chris's coach. We are not just coaches, but we get coached. So we really use the podcast as a place, number one, to connect as friends, and like have a reason to talk to each other that doesn't, look like business talk. But then also as a way for us to even like let people into what it looks like to be coached, because often we're just actively coaching each other, and I think that's real. I think we want it to be like a glimpse into what a coaching relationship can look like for people.
Hmm. Yeah, podcasting is definitely harder than it seems. 100%.
Why is it so hard, Dan?
I don't know, I started in, probably November, and it always evolves. Like you said, you think you get this awesome guest and they're gonna like post it on Facebook or Instagram and it's gonna go viral, and then you look and it's like, okay, I've got 200 views. Um, but no, mine's evolved quite a bit. Like it kind of started just with people from the Midwest. I did a segment for a while. It was actually called Hebrew Word of the Day, which I'd love you to check out.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just a simple, like 3-4 minute. You just kind of define the word, pray about it, kind of just think about, the Hebrew, because that's, Jesus's, native tongue. So I did that for a while. I'm still having a bunch of guests on, and then I just started a segment called Fridays with Dan. It's just a kind of a 12-minute monologue of just my week, things that touched me, if I watched a cool documentary, and just kind of weave everything into a cohesive story and then just end it with a Bible verse and a prayer. So uh, you just always kind of got to be experimenting, and that's the easy part is the recording. The hard part is then you have to go in and edit all this stuff out. And
Yep. What's like the one thing you've learned? Like if I know you said earlier like maybe we've been doing this longer, but I think we're the newbies here, Dan. What's like the one pro tip that you would give me thinking about a podcast?
I mean, for me, what I've learned is it's really just given me a lot of confidence to reach out to people.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I had literally for my first podcast, Gilbert Brown, who is a Super Bowl winner for the Green Bay Packers. And just to have the confidence to reach out and to not get discouraged when, people ghost you or say no, and just drill emails, whoever you want, just keep drilling emails and whoever you want on, even if you get one of 10, that's still one.
Yeah.
So I think that's, if that makes sense, that's kind of what
Yeah.
I've learned.
Yeah. Love that.
But so we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We've already had a lot of fun, but might get a little sappy. But so I always try to do a Mount Rushmore segment.
Okay.
So this is going to be the Mount Rushmore of leadership.
Okay.
I don't want you to say Abe Lincoln or Martin Luther King. I want it to be a little more personal because those are what mine are. So who would be your first face on your Mount Rushmore of leadership?
Yeah, that one's easy. It's a guy named Brian Keepers. He's a great friend of mine still. He was my supervisor. He's my lead pastor when I pastored this second campus church. Yeah, Brian Keepers is the best leader I know. And literally taught me like I am not sitting in this chair today without Brian Keepers.
Look, I didn't stump you at all. That was easy.
No, I got yeah.
So so most of mine are family members. So the first one is my late Uncle Jim. He was a farmer up in Wisconsin, and he just taught me, the love of animals, work ethic, hard
Mm,
work, just salt of the earth kind of guy. Maybe had a couple too many wild turkeys at the end of the night, but he was just a super important person in my life, and
mm.
uh, I think being a farmer is being a leader for sure. So so that's my number one.
Yeah, love that.
All right, number two.
Number two, a woman named Trisha Taylor. Trisha Taylor she's also a coach. She was never my personal coach, but I learned a lot from her through I'm struggling for a series of conferences that we would do as a church. I got to know her a little bit through those, and she taught me about um, something called creative tension, where like for things to change in my life or in a system, there has to be some tension. Too little tension, nothing changes. Too much tension, the system breaks. She taught me how to think about that in a way I'd never understood before. Just super grateful for her teaching for that.
That's awesome. And this is so embarrassing because I cannot remember her name, but she was so important to me in high school. She was my like geometry and trigonometry teacher, and she just made it so fun. Like,
Mm,
I mean, who thinks geometry and trigonometry is fun at all?
this guy.
And she was just so kind and patient and non-judgmental. And unfortunately, she got into an accident and had to get her leg amputated. But I think she's doing okay now. And like I said, I'm so embarrassed I cannot remember her name. But she's I can picture her face. So she's on my Mount Rushmore for number two.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Um, so number three, I would go to a guy named Jim Harrington. Jim Harrington he was my first coach. So the church I worked for here in Northwest Iowa honestly invested a lot into my coaching as a young young and experienced pastor. Jim Harrington was my coach who helped me kind of like process and think about career transition and coaching. Yeah, I love the guy to pieces. He's a good friend now. Yeah, Jim Harrington. He's worth a Google. He's got a couple of great books out. Worth a Google.
You'll definitely have to check that out. So my number three is going to be a boss that I had. Her name is Barb Woods. She just was so empowering and trusting. And I'm the type of person that hates being micromanaged. Like, I hate being micromanaged. But she also was always there if I had questions, if I needed, advice. And just, she really helped me grow as an accountant because that's my actual career.
Oh, okay. Bless you, Dan.
So, yeah. Uh, but no, she was just so great. And again, why do all these people that I'm picking have something bad happen to them? She was diagnosed with breast cancer, but she did survive and she's doing great now. But she was just one of those bosses that you could talk to about anything. Didn't have to be about work. We'd listen to Pink Floyd at 6 p.m. in the office. Just just a wonderful lady that really helped me grow in my career.
Yeah, love that. Mount Rushmore 4.
For
I should know this. Ooh, 4. I, this is gonna sound really silly. I had a great little league baseball coach. His name is Bruce. Um, I I look, I love baseball. Uh, terrible. I was terrible at baseball. So I only played to like middle school. But I remember Bruce's kid was my age, so I was always on Bruce's team. And I remember being like seen as a kid. Like I remember
Mhm.
this being like the first time someone outside of my family like saw me and appreciated me, you know? I wasn't the best kid on the team, but I felt like the best kid on the team. Um, so I think, yeah, I think Bruce just stands out in my mind as like just teaching me how to see people, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I'm gonna brag a little bit. I did throw a no-hitter once in high school.
What? I mean, that's history, Dan. How many people could
Uh,
say that?
I oh, it would have been a perfect game, but the grounder went through the third baseman's legs.
Ah, I hope he apologized.
It was all good. So again, this one, it's not silly. It's kind of a cop out, but it's just my mom.
That's not a cop
I mean,
out.
she just is always there for me. She showed up to every band concert, every baseball game, every basketball game, every whatever it was. She was just always there for me. And yeah, I just love her very much. And she's just the type of mom that instilled good values in me. She's so deeply rooted in faith. And yeah, it's just my mom. She's got to
Yeah,
be up there.
that's really sweet.
But so yeah, I'm going to give you the floor now to talk about where everyone can check out your content, whether it's your book or your podcast or um, your coaching company. So yeah, I'm just going to give you the floor.
Oh man, I'm really bad at this part, Dan, so I'll give it a shot.
Well,
Uh,
I'll post all the links in the
okay,
episode
good,
description.
good. I'm from the Midwest. We don't talk about ourselves real well, Dan.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so people can find us at brimstonecoachinggroup.com. And I do want to say real quick, Brimstone, we don't call ourselves Brimstone because of like fire and brimstone, like biblical like pound on people brimstone. Brimstone is a species of butterfly. And butterflies are transformed creatures. So we
Mhm.
wanted to capture our desire for transformation that way. So brimstonecoachinggroup.com. We we are a very specific sort of coaching that is really right for some people, and for some people it might not be quite as right. So we offer free inquiry calls. People can get on the phone with me or my business partner, my coaching partner, and have a conversation to see if we're right. If people have questions, they can do that for absolutely nothing, no obligation, no nothing like that. Yeah, the link for the book is on our website as well. Link for our podcast is there too. Book and podcast are kind of the easy ways for people to kind of again get a glimpse of who we are, um, and why we do what we do.
Yeah, well, everyone, please check that out. Kurt, I really can't thank you enough for being here today. It's been fun, it's been powerful, it's been meaningful. So I just thank you for showing up with your honesty and just a willingness to go beyond the surface. And I know my listeners will resonate with that a lot. So um, we're going to sign off. And this has been Stream of Consciousness with Dan. And in the words of Simon Sinek, I think I'm pronouncing that right, leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about taking care of the people in your charge. So we'll see you next time on Stream of Consciousness with Dan.